welcome back, everyone, for the panel that we're about to have, which is fee-based everything. Credit to Jeff Benjamin for the catchy title. And we're going to do a deep dive into the various investments and insurance options that are optimized for RIAs. Now, if there's one word that really encapsulates the RIA space, I would really say it's freedom, right? So freedom to work as you wish, freedom to serve your clients as you feel is best, and the freedom of choice. And actually, if I were to pick another word, it would be choice, right? There is no lack of choice in the RIA world. And during the session, we're going to explore some of the choices you have to deliver the best of breed solutions to your clients in the fee-based world. And we really have with us today truly an A-list of RIA veterans. We have Mike Flynn from BOK. We have Matt Omi from Allianz. Thank you. And David Lau, of course, from DPL. And we were going to have Chris Romano from Orion. And he was ill this morning, so he's not going to be able to join us. We are trying to get Andrew Rosenberger from Orion to join us as well. So he'll either join us, or if not, I'm pretty familiar with his solution, so I'd be happy to take that role myself. My name is Chuck Fela, and I'm the founder and principal of Sovereign Financial Group, and we're an SEC-registered RIA in the Northeast. Okay, so before we go around the horn, I would like to ask all of you in the audience to help me challenge today's panel. Specifically, I'd like you to think of a service or a solution or perhaps a product that you currently use and you think you may not have that available to you in the RIA space. Okay, I think that could be an interesting test for the panel today. And I think you'd be pleasantly surprised to know that there really isn't anything that you could do in the BD world that you can also be done and perhaps done better in the RIA space. So put us to the test. Okay, so if you have any thoughts on that, please use the Q&A box and I'll relay that to the panel. Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to go around the horn, and each of our panelists will start off by giving us an overview of their firm, themselves, of course, and what they're able to uniquely deliver to RIAs. And as a reminder, this session is a great opportunity to engage directly with our speakers. So please be sure to ask any questions that you might like. The Q&A box is over to the right of your screen, and I will be checking that throughout the session. So don't wait till the end. If you have a question, pop it in there, and I will gladly relay your questions and your thoughts or comments directly to the panel. Okay, so let's get started. I'd like to start with Mike Flynn from BOK, and I believe, Mike, you have some slides to present as well.
I do. I've got a slide.
The stage is yours.
And I think it's a proper introduction relative to the challenge that you put out there, Chuck, as to what independent advisors may be leaving on the table. A little bit about myself and BOK Financial. For those of you that aren't in the South and Southwest, where BOK is traditionally located, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Missouri, Colorado, Arizona, where I'm at. BOK's been around for over 100 years, founded by the Sinclair Oil family, the green dinosaur gas stations, if you will. And within that big BOK Financial umbrella exists a vertical that I represent called Advisor Trust Services. It's a vertical that I'm proud to say I've been involved in now for 30 years. I helped found the first advisor-friendly and agnostic trust company that provides corporate trustee services to independent advisors and their clients. And in that 30-year period, I've helped advisors, if you will, liberate or gather over $60 billion of trust assets. So in this brief 5 minutes, going to tell the advisors out there a little bit about the opportunity that exists. And I think the first slide really sums it up, that recent studies have shown that 90% of high net worth clients are expecting services from their advisors that are bullet pointed there: wealth transfer advice, trust services, estate planning advice, tax planning advice, philanthropic advice. These are all critical components that if you as an independent advisor aren't providing to your clients, they're going to look someplace else. And obviously that opens the door for them leaving your services. The next slide, if you will, talks a little bit about the biggest reasons in terms of why over 30 years I've seen this marketplace expand dramatically. Clearly, we've seen over the last year and a half that the COVID pandemic has created this mortality risk. Clients are concerned about, well, what happens if I get COVID or I got COVID? Of course, with the inundation of what's been on the news, this mortality risk has caused clients to really take a deeper dive and a look at their estate plans, at the, hey, what if I become incapacitated? What if I pass away? What's going to happen to my wealth? And they've reached out to their advisors for answer to those questions. So if as an advisor, you haven't positioned yourself with the knowledge to be able to address those questions, again, you're leaving that opportunity open for somebody else. If you look at, and you hear the numbers over and over again, I've got the number up there, 28 trillion with a T over the next 10 years, that's going to transfer. I like to say when I do breakout sessions that until they invent the immortality pill, people are going to die and assets are going to move. You don't see a U-Haul behind a hearse. And many of these assets are being transferred in trust, and the estimates again are in the trillions. 2 to 3 billion a day is moving into trust. So again, as an advisor, if you're not on the bus, you're under the bus. It's going to happen. So again, these are all figures that as advisors, I think you need to be aware of and put yourself in a position to be able to take advantage of this. The next slide really shows the traditional model, the old model that existed before we started this advisor-friendly paradigm some 30 years ago. The trustee does everything. They administer the assets, they manage the assets, they keep the records, they custody the assets. That's the old trust model. As an outside preferred advisor, you're on the outside looking in. The new model on the next slide is the model that this advisor trust services custodian agnostic, unbundled it's the client in the middle and 4-chair trust table with you as the preferred advisor sitting in 3 of those chairs, starting in the upper right-hand corner with the relationship management. In our model, you own the client relationship. You manage the relationship with the beneficiary, the interested party. You're the feet on the ground. You're the person interfacing with that beneficiary and with the client. Below that, then, of course, part 2 of what most independent advisors do as a core competency: manage relationships and manage the assets. And again, in our model, you have the ability as the independent advisor to take advantage of a lot of the things you're going to talk about in this conference today and tomorrow in terms of your independence and your ability to provide best of breed investment management. You're managing those liquid assets. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, the 3rd chair, do that on your custodial platform of choice. In this unbundled advisor-friendly model, you tell the trustee, in this case, a firm like ours, where you want that trust account, whether it's a Schwab or whether it's a Pershing or it's an NFS, in terms of where you do your best of breed practices, in terms of where you typically manage, trade, and settle assets. And of course, the upper left-hand corner is the 4th chair, and that's what we do. That's our core competency. That's trust. That is the blocking and tackling, if you will, of the trust world. Interpret the trust, provide the principal and income accounting, help make the distributions, pay the bills, send out the statements, all those things that you can bring a very large, well-established institutional corporate trustee to the table that lets you compete with the big bundled bank trust companies, whether it's a Northern Trust or a U.S. Bank or other types of traditional big bank trust companies that, again, don't have this unbundled model. 2 ways we add value to you as independent advisors specifically. I call them offense and defense. The defensive side, and again, I think this ties in a little bit to earlier track 1 with mergers and acquisitions, is we are named in many advisors' clients' estate plans as a successor trustee. We're in there just in case. Advisors will take advantage of this partnership to provide a institutional corporate trustee like a BOK as a successor. So if something happens to their client, they become incapacitated or they die, a firm like ours can step in and allow that advisor to stay involved with the family versus having the family name a traditional bank trust company. If they become incapacitated, if they pass away, that advisor is going to get kicked to the curb. There's no cost for that. And again, we're named in dozens, if not hundreds of advisors, clients, estate plans in that position of just in case, in that position of successor trustee as a placeholder. The second way is offense, and that's kind of back to that $6 billion I've helped advisors capture or liberate over the 30 years I've been doing this, and that's your clients that are already beneficiaries of irrevocable trusts and they're not happy with 1-800-knucklehead corporate trustee service they're getting now, and they wish you, their preferred advisor, could be involved in a sense that they want you to be able to pick up the phone. They want you to manage the money. They're used to the services you're providing in their traditional IRA accounts or their traditional joint accounts, but mom and dad are gone and they named Small Town Community Bank and Trust as a successor trustee back in 1980. They got bought, who got bought by, boy, now, again, large bundled bank trust company, and they're tired again of service fees and performance not being very good. Again, the 1-800 black hole or knucklehead phone call. They've had 9 different trust officers. They don't know how their assets are invested. Here's your income check, shut up and go away. They'd rather have somebody like a Chuck who picks up the phone and works with them and can provide that open architecture investment platform. So offense and defense, protect the assets you've got. You've probably got dozens of accounts that are living revocable trust, and you may not know who the successor trustee is for your clients. If it's not an advisor-friendly corporate trustee and it's a bundled traditional bank trust company, you're exposing yourself to successor trustee risk. So those are the 2 areas that you need to consider as you look at your practice. If those of you that are leaving wirehouses and maybe you're working with your bundled bank wirehouses trust company, a solution like this lets you leave that bundled wirehouse and link up with an independent advisor-friendly trust company that can take the place of the corporate trustee that you're with now and allow you to continue to manage the money. So with that, I think we've done the quick elevator story in 5 minutes or less. Chuck, I'll turn it back to you.
That's absolutely perfect. And as a matter of fact, that's our slogan at Sovereign. We are far better than 1-800-knucklehead. It's on most of our stationaries. I love that. Just a couple of quick things, housekeeping wise. Andy Rosenberger has joined us from Orion, and we're going to get to him right after Matt and David. And we have a few questions already, which is great. Regarding crypto and private equity, we're going to wait till everyone goes around the horn. We'll address those. The other question here, which I think Matt will like, is we've been talking for years about acceleration to RIA's use of annuities. Has that happened? Well, allow me to introduce you to Matt Omi, and I suspect you'll have a few words on that. So Matt, the stage is yours.
Definitely. Thanks, Chuck. And thank you for putting this panel together. Just like the question you read, at Allianz, we're definitely seeing an increase in the amount of questions from RIAs about fee-based insurance. Everything from how do I analyze annuities, part of a portfolio or within a financial plan, to how does reporting work, fee billing, or I've transitioned my business model and now I don't know how to incorporate insurance or even access the products. So we really appreciate all the work Investment News has done to orchestrate this event, and specifically the work you and others did organizing the panel. There are really 2 major trends taking place with respect to fee-based insurance, which are driving the questions like you just got and we're getting from RIAs, and an increase in the demand for the solutions. The first is the evolution within the RIA community to add additional services to their businesses. This is twofold. 1, it increases advisory revenue, and 2, it provides key risk mitigation solutions for clients entering retirement that the advisor may not have needed during the accumulation years. And the second major trend with regards to fee-based insurance is insurance companies see an opportunity to grow by reaching more consumers that work with RIAs. Historically, there has been low adoption rates for insurance within the RIA community. This growth opportunity has led to major investments, removing barriers traditionally making insurance and what we've heard is very clunky for RIAs to implement, or even access the products if they're fee only and they don't do commission-based products. We often say it's a business problem, not a product problem. The consumer value of annuities to mitigate retirement risk is strong and has been empirically proven. David Lau on this panel has done a lot of work with leading academics to drive this empirical research. And the other challenge, and the main challenge, has been the lack of integration into the advisory business model. They really haven't had access to these products. And the good news is barriers are coming down fast because of insurance companies like Allianz and others, and organizations like David's that are bringing light to insurance into the RIA community. So if you haven't looked at fee-based insurance in a while, or wondering about how you can incorporate insurance within your practice, I lead a team now focused on helping advisors navigating new infrastructures, relationships, and risk management solutions, which does include fee-based insurance and goes beyond insurance with our buffered outcome ETFs, really leveraging our risk management capabilities. Before I hand it back, there are a few notable developments. If you haven't looked at fee-based insurance recently, and we can go deeper into this through the conversation, that Allianz has developed and in the insurance industry overall. The first are organizations which help RAs navigate solutions and support implementation, like DPL Financial Partners. David's organization has been instrumental for two reasons. First, they partner with RAs, and they understand RAs to incorporate insurance within their business. And second, David and his team have helped educate insurance companies like Allianz, and we've worked a lot with David on the needs of the RA community. How do we knock down those clunkiness barriers? How do we make it efficient? And then also on the product development side, how do we make sure these products fit within the investment philosophies of the RAs and remove infrastructure for that clunkiness? Another notable item is integrations with key wealth management platforms. We often heard insurance values were difficult to obtain in wealth management platforms. So we've worked with major platforms, including Orion, Black Diamond, Tamarack, and others on direct data feeds. So we have very clean data back and forth. And we're also building at Allianz an API platform. We know the technology options are vast within the RA space, and each RA creates its own unique client experience with the technology they use. So we want to make sure we're well integrated into their business. The third notable item is education. RAs that leverage financial planning or looking to incorporate financial planning. We have a team at Allianz that we've invested in. They're very good, of CFPs, and who are well versed in all the major financial planning tools and can help with respect to retirement planning and risk management within those plans. But we also understand too, there's more of the investment-centric advisor and the investment committees. So we've created a proprietary portfolio analysis tool using our in-house hedging team. Our in-house hedging team manages assets at Allianz across the globe, and they're really managing cash flow portfolios. So we've leveraged that infrastructure. Now you can take it down to bespoke portfolios and your own capital market assumptions. So my team can help you leverage and analyze insurance in a way that has never been done before. And the last is the solutions. We continue to evolve our commission-free insurance with Allianz's core value propositions. Again, the core value of insurance is strong. It was the business problem that we're knocking down the barriers. And we've also launched the buffered outcome ETFs, which I mentioned. So a lot of good things at Allianz within the RA community as respect to the fee-based model. And I look forward to additional dialogue. And I'll hand it back to you, Chuck.
Okay, that sounds great. And there really is, because we were looking at fee-based annuity products, 5 or 6 years ago, and it was just in the infancy, and it really has become so much more robust. And I'll chime in too with regards to something you mentioned there, Matt, is the idea of support, right? And we at Sovereign, we actually use DPL, and we like the product mix for sure, but the support, and this will resonate for any of the New York advisors out there. They even went so far as, and David knows where I'm going with this. They went so far as to actually do the Reg 60, which if you're a New York advisor, you know exactly how arduous that is. And they did all the heavy lifting for us as we were transitioning our, legacy commission-based VAs over to fee-based. So it was really fantastic. So with that, let me turn it over to David Lau for his introduction as well.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the kind words too, Matt. I'll say some kind words about you guys as well. The Allianz has been a terrific partner, and has really invested into the RIA channel, which requires some investment, on behalf of the carriers. It's a different model with different support needs, and not every carrier makes the same kind of investment that an Allianz does. So, they've been a really, terrific partner, and, one that is a great ally of the RIA market. So just to give a little context, and I'll connect a few dots, it's not news or, any kind of breaking news for me to say that insurance has been a problem for RIAs forever, right? The insurance industry has historically been a commission-driven industry, commission-driven products, making them incompatible with an RIA's fee-only business model. So forever, RIAs have not been able to use the products, and it creates that conflict of interest for an RIA, where using an annuity or other insurance products meant assets out the door, and that was always a problem. And so in my prior life, prior to founding DPL, I built an insurance carrier, Jefferson National, which focused on the RIA market and delivering commission-free variable annuity product. And realizing after working in the RIA industry for a decade at Jefferson National, that a broader solution was really necessary. So I set out to build DPL, kind of modeled after Schwab OneSource back in the 80s, where Schwab started aggregating and bringing no-load mutual funds together into a platform for direct to consumer and for RIAs, to have access to all of those products within one platform. And so that's what we're building at DPL. We launched the company at the end of 2014 and spent 3 years really working with carriers on some of those requirements for supporting the industry, the RIA channel, in terms of working on fee billing rather than paying commissions, and allowing advisors to be added to accounts rather than have to be the agent of record, and things like that. We launched the company in the beginning of 2018, and in a little over 3 years, we've brought on over 1,200 now RIA firms who are members. We have a membership model for RIAs to get access to our technology, our products, and our licensed insurance consultants. And as Chuck said, we are a turnkey insurance platform. So as an RIA, you can have no insurance capability today, sign up with DPL, and you're fully capable immediately. And what we work on is not only bringing that marketplace of products. We've grown to have about 20 carriers and over 40 products today, and we continue to add more. But we also work on those business issues, those integration issues, the technology issues. And so knowing the challenges from being working in the industry so long in the RA channel, we set out to build not only the data feeds and make sure you've got all the data connectivity that you need, but also build what we call product discovery tools to give you actual functionality that you can compare annuities just like you can compare mutual funds. So we normalize annuities and give you those kind of capabilities. And next slide, please. Almost forgot about that. The overall value proposition we're bringing, for RIAs and those looking, to break away, is really a business solution, number one. So for an RIA who's traditionally been an asset manager and has now, over really the last 5 to 10 years, the RIA market has really grown into, financial planners and wealth managers. Insurance is an important component to that. And if you can't meet those insurance needs for your client, basically you're writing a financial plan and a prescription for that should include insurance, and having to send it away to a competitor in order to get it fulfilled. And that's problematic, right? So business 101 is, let's grow your business from your existing clients. It's a heck of a lot cheaper to grow your business with existing clients than to have to go out and find new ones. So insurance represents an opportunity for AUM growth with your existing clients, for the RIA firm. And for those who are considering breaking away, and insurance might be an important component of your existing practice, again, forever you didn't have a great fee-based solution. You can now leverage the commission-free products to, as Chuck was mentioning, move your existing block into a AUM assets, and have the same kinds of products that you've been used to that have been important to your practice available for any new business and future clients that you're bringing on. The other reason, we see so many RIA firms, adopting, insurance and, annuities, as Matt was mentioning, is to enhance client outcomes, and financial planners get it immediately, right? Annuities enhance a financial plan. If you want to improve a Monte Carlo score, a good way to get started is try adding an annuity into a, financial plan, particularly for clients with, longer life expectancies. You're going to see a real bump in the Monte Carlo scores. For the asset managers within the RIA firm, they're a little slower, right? I mean, they've been managing assets, for their whole career, starting to use annuities. It feels like, something that they've fought against, forever. So getting to understand, and Matt, mentioned, we spend a lot of time on education here, and bringing, academic research and thoughts about how you integrate insurance into portfolios is a critical component to what we do. And so we try to give you, again, that complete support, as an RIA, from the products to the consultants to the technology and education to use it all. And with that, I'll wrap it up and turn it to Andy.
Okay, I'll just jump in real quick for just a moment. We are getting a lot of really great questions regarding insurance. So we're going to come back to Matt and David in just a moment. But I do want to hear from Andy first. Andy is with Orion and is going to talk a little bit about their Astro solution. I can tell you that we use that solution as well at Sovereign. And, I am on record saying that solution is, in my opinion, without question, the most disruptive RIA technology that's out there. So I'm looking forward to hearing this. And Andy, thanks for being here on short notice. I know Chris was going to be here. He's not feeling well, but we're certainly glad to have you. So the stage is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chuck. Happy to join. Sorry for my tardiness. I was running into connectivity issues here, so I'm glad I got that addressed. David, I think you just called me slow. I won't take it personally, but I'm going to be more focused on the investment side than the insurance or the trust management side. So as Chuck mentioned, I represent Orion. Orion is a 1,000-person firm. We have about 1.3 trillion in assets under management. Assets under advisement, we have another 40 trillion under assets under management. Really, when you think about Orion, we're a technology platform and a TAMP. And so, whereas you heard from trust services and insurance, I'm more focused on the investment side of the equation here. I'm going to talk to you today about two different areas of the investment offering. One is the Astro platform, which Chuck had alluded to. I'll get into more in detail on that one in a second. And then the other one is our community's managed model platform. Let me start with Astro, because personally, in my own role, where I head up tax management, I'm a big user of the Orion Astro technology. And as we refer to Astro as a platform, I'm not referring to George Jetson's dog. That's a joke which probably will be lost on at least some of you. But rather, it's our technology platform which enables advisors to build custom portfolios. And if I say that in industry parlance, I'm referring to the concept of direct indexing. So whereas in the past, an advisor may have gone to a parametric or an Aperia group or another third-party provider, and they would have paid them 25, 30, 40 basis points in many ways to run a direct index strategy. What we do at Orion is we offer that technology for an advisor to either do it themselves or to even use Orion as a service and let them integrate it within the portfolios, but do it in a much more cost-effective manner. Before I go any further, though, I talk about direct indexing, and I'm presumptive in some ways that people know what that is. So let me just clarify what I mean by direct indexing. Direct indexing is this concept where, as an advisor, you can build a custom portfolio and do it in a scalable way. And in the past, those two have been opposite one another. They've been mutually exclusive, right? You couldn't really have customization and scalability. With technology, that's not the case anymore, though. You can have any number of client portfolios with any number of ESG considerations or SRI considerations or factor tilts within the portfolio. And probably where we see direct indexing being used the most is with tax management and tax transitions. So let me just paint a picture here, because I think most people on the meeting can sympathize with this scenario. You have a prospect, or maybe you even have an existing client. And you've been working with that client for some time now. You've done all the planning. They trust your advice. They want to leave their old advisor, or they have a bunch of other assets they want to port over to you. But there's this huge embedded capital gain that they have. And to move the assets over, they're basically going to be taking a huge tax hit to put those assets under your management. And this is where direct indexing can really shine, because unlike a model-based portfolio, or if you have an ETF or a third-party separate account or a mutual fund, in those cases, you're going to have to blow out everything that wouldn't overlap. And as we all know, there's some positions which overlap, but more often than not, there's a lot that don't. The other option is you can put it in an unmanaged account or a brokerage account. And there you're either stuck doing it yourself through Excel, or you're not getting paid on those assets. With direct indexing, what you're able to do is build a portfolio based on what the client has, what they're starting with, and then merge that with your target portfolio. So each client will look a little bit different, and you're able to manage it in a very scalable way. Now, there's lots of other benefits also with direct indexing. We could talk about proactive Texas harvesting, or setting capital gain budgets, or factor tilts. But in my mind, when I think about Astro and direct indexing, it's probably one of the single best tools to remove the barriers of prospects really upgrading to you as a better advisor or moving their assets. So if I take that a little bit step further, keep kind of peeling back the onion here, tax management's a big component to it, but it's also, when you think about tax management, don't think about it as just a once and done type of event. There are solutions that we can employ that take that tax management and tax transition and stretch it over a multi-year period. You know, clients often think, well, I want to make the change, but I want to spread out my gains over 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, or some multi-calendar year period. We give clients the ability through the technology to really be able to do that. And so if a client says, I want to realize $25,000 in capital gains for the next 3 years while I'm working, and then when I plan on retiring, I want to realize 0 in capital gains, that's totally fine. That would be right for that client. It may be something totally different for another client. So as I talk about Orion's Astro solution, in a nutshell, it's really taking the technology that's being used for direct indexing and giving it and putting it in the hands of advisors. There's one more component to this. If I switch gears a little bit, we also offer our communities managed model platform. So unlike Astro, where it's more about the actual portfolio management, this is more about how do you get access to strategies that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to get access to if you were going direct to the manager. Many of you coming from a large platform, you have that curated list of third-party options. Our communities managed model platform is that way of getting access to those same strategies. So whether it be that you want certain separate accounts or ETFs or mutual funds, or whether you want something that's more holistic, where you're going to an iShares or an American Funds or a more kind of asset allocation provider, we have that through the communities managed model platform as well. So that's a brief overview of Orion and a couple of different tech solutions that we can offer for RIAs who are breaking away. I'll stop there, and Chuck, I'll turn it back over to you so we can get into Q&A.
All right, that sounds really good, and thank you for that, Andy. One thing I'll build upon, you talk about using Astro to transition clients, taking that one level higher. We at Sovereign, we've been actually using Astro to help transition entire advisor books of business, right? So if they're already in some sort of SMA that they like, that their clients like, and they want to transition in a very tax effective way, Astro is a real lock for that solution. It's really fantastic. So we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Okay, great. Well, that was a great start for today's session. And we have a bunch of questions with regards to crypto, private equity, and 529 plans. The short answer is yes, yes, yes. There's an advisor-based solution for that. But we have some very specific questions, and I want to turn it back to Matt and David, and then I'm going to circle over to Mike with some questions regarding trust services. So this question here from the audience, I'm going to just read verbatim. Okay, so here we go. Fee-based insurance annuities require a separate license in about 35 states. In California, one must become a life and disability insurance analyst. It's the law to even review existing contracts. This is the good part. How does an RIA offer this? Question mark. Illegally? Unethically? Which one of you guys want to take that?
I'll turn it over to David. They offer obviously insurance beyond what Allianz offers. So David, if you're comfortable taking that.
Sure. I love to give regulatory and compliance advice. So I have spent, quite a bit of time on these kinds of issues. And I mean, the way we're working with advisors, because many are not licensed, in the RIA space, because why would you be? You could never use the products before. So what we do is basically we're a referral source. So you can, and that's within within your capability of an advisor. You can provide under the Model Act, general quote insurance advice, to your clients, meaning you need life insurance, you need, you could use guaranteed income in the form of an annuity. Then from there, it's, I have a partner firm that I work with, to provide insurance, and that you can do. And so we perform, policy reviews. We even have an automated software, which is fabulous, that does annuity review. We have an annuity comparison tool that will compare existing annuities to annuities that that we provide. But basically, what it's coming down to is you really can't do specific things or make specific recommendations as an unlicensed advisor, but you can certainly have an insurance resource that is, and that's kind of the role we serve, for advisory firms.
And just to add on that, from the manufacturer standpoint, we've added 2 roles on our policies, and David mentioned this. And so we have an insurance agent role, and we have an investment advisor role, which is really the power of attorney over the policy. So the investment advisor is giving access to data information and the ability to manage the assets in the insurance policy. So at the manufacturer level, we have 2 distinct roles on the policy.
Okay, that sounds good. And this kind of even harkens back to earlier on this morning with Blaine Aiken's keynote, right? So keep in mind, what an advisor does is charge a fee for advice. And if you're doing a financial plan and that plan would benefit through some sort of insurance product, you're getting paid for that advice, not necessarily the sale of that particular product. So I think that's probably the best way to answer that. So it's neither illegal or unethical, but just part of the planning process that you're getting paid a fee for is my 2 cents. Okay, there's a question on SPIA, which I'll come back to in just a moment, but I want to turn it over to Mike. And the question is, and this is probably from a kind of a wirehouse perspective, utilizing kind of your outsourced solution, right, where the advisor is taking that center role. What, if anything, would my clients be missing out on by using that solution versus a more traditional big bang trust solution?
Yeah, that's a great question. It comes up a lot in terms of differentiating this kind of unbundled, where the advisor is kind of sitting in those 3 out of 4 chairs, managing the relationship, managing the assets, and doing it on their platform of choice, versus the traditional bundled solution. And the answer is they're not missing out on anything. They're actually gaining quite a few things. And I think it's best exemplified by the providers that are on the screen right now. I mean, look at the ability to leverage an Orion solution in tax management. I mean, we're often moving trusts where the advisor's client is, again, not happy with the traditional bank trust company. It's an irrevocable trust, assets left by their grandparents or their parents, and there's a highly appreciated concentrated asset. Grandpa was a founding member, owned UPS stock or Microsoft, and there's a $2 million trust and 400,000 of it's in UPS. And it needs to be moved, and you need to use tax advantage solutions. You can look at an escrow application, and the independent advisor has the ability to take advantage of these best of breed solutions. It might be a client that needs to set up an irrevocable life insurance trust because of the estate planning. And in the bundled solutions, they don't often have those advantages. And from a cost perspective, you're typically not, changing much from the bundled bank trust company to an unbundled solution, where the independent advisor, maybe on a $2 or $3 million account, is charging 60 to 100 basis points. And the trustee solution, our component, is somewhere in the 50 basis point range. So combined, we're plus or minus 100 basis points to 120 basis points, where, again, in the traditional bank trust company, and I don't want to throw any traditional bank trust companies under the bus, but, whether it's, a large company that's been around forever, they're going to be paying 120, 140, 150 basis points in fees and getting often proprietary product where they don't, as a beneficiary, have the ability to leverage the independent advisor's ability to reach out to providers like Orion, like Allianz, like DPL, to access those types of services that allow them to bring better solutions to their end clients.
Yeah. I think that's a really great point. And we actually have a client that's in a situation like this. And Mike, we even talked about this particular person.
Yeah.
And she's got an old family trust, a good chunk of money in there. And it's managed by, let's just say, Knucklehead Trust Company, right? Just so we're not using actual names here to use that theme still. And what I was really shocked about, right? Really, really shocked is, it was at Knucklehead Trust and it had Knucklehead mutual funds inside, which I was really floored. I couldn't believe they could do that. Double
I see that many, many times. Yeah, over my 30-year career in doing this and moving billions of dollars of assets, how often the traditional bank trust company is using very vanilla product or all proprietary product where they're charging a trustee fee, they're getting a management fee, and they also are getting expense ratios on common trust funds or mutual funds. And again, often the performance is very, very mediocre because that's not their core competency. Versus the independent model where somebody leaves a wirehouse or they're looking at becoming their own RIA, and the plethora or cornucopia of types of solutions that they now have access to, exemplified again by several of the examples I gave, with the panelists today, it's just uncompromising in terms of the ability now as an independent advisor, the solution you can bring to a high net worth family by saying, listen, I have access to this, versus the bundled bank trust company where it's one size fits all.
Right. Now, I think that's a great point. And again, highlights the importance of independence. And that's exactly what you're bringing to the table, which I think is great. We have a couple more insurance questions. I do want to go with Andy just one more time with regards to maybe forward looking, right? So what do you see as in the future especially for RIAs that have the ability to take advantage of independent technology? What's coming next, right? Direct indexing, that's pretty cool. What's going to be next on that frontier?
Yeah, there are three big areas that we have kind of in our mind and in focus here. One would be the idea just of mass customization. I think even though research will tell you that clients view using a model, when an advisor uses a model, they actually view you as more sophisticated. That doesn't mean that they necessarily want to be in a one-size-fits-all type of strategy. So showing clients that you hear them when they speak about what their unique needs are and you're adjusting the portfolio to their needs makes a big difference. So mass customization and doing it in a way where it's scalable. That would be number one. Number two would be the idea of how do you do what we're doing, but at a household level, right? How do you take this, some people call it asset location optimization. More simply, how do you put the right things in the right places? That's kind of the holy grail of the industry. And it's ultimately where we're striving to take the tax management, the direct indexing type of technology. And then I would say the third one is that technology is becoming more and more important to the underlying clients themselves. In many ways, clients are saying the technology and the tools that you're bringing to them are just as, if not more important than the actual investments and the recommendations. Clients want mobile option. They want linked accounts. They want interactive reporting. They want more frequent and shorter touches. So it's how do you leverage technology to be a better, more efficient advisor to your clients?
That sounds great. And I tell you, we Investment News is going to be doing another one of these types of events later this year. And I really believe we should have an entire session just on rebalancing and the whole idea of household level rebalancing, because I think that is just massive. And I've been talking to a lot of advisors over the past couple of years because that's how we do it. And it's amazing how that concept is not at the fore of a lot of the advisors that we speak with. And I think it's a missed opportunity. And to be able to do that and just be able to press a button using Astro, sign me up. I'm looking forward to that coming out real soon. Okay, I just want to be mindful of time. We have about 4 minutes. I'm going to take this quick question and I'm going to turn it over to David and Matt with regards to SPIAs. So this question here is if one is an insurance licensed person, I guess, registered insurance person, and they're currently state registering their RIA, are you saying it is a conflict to be compensated commission-wise on insurance and annuity? Absolutely not. And again, we spoke about this in the keynote with Blaine Aiken this morning. There is no conflict whatsoever to receive commissions. There's just another way to do it, right? You can act as a fiduciary and still collect a commission, right? It has to be properly done. And a lot of times a commission can make a ton of sense. So make no mistake, you can be an RIA and also do commission business. In fact, you don't even have to have a 7, right? If you're just doing fixed annuities, you could drop a fixed annuity ticket, no problem at all. So let me pause there and just ask one last question with regards to SPIAs, and I think that's going to take us to our time for today. So the question is, any thoughts on how to make a SPIA work for RIAs from a compensation standpoint? So David or Matt, if you guys want to take that last question. We have just a couple minutes left.
Sure. Lots of people like to talk about SPIAs, but not many people use them. But the SPIA, you can still bill on a SPIA. You use the commuted value or some other value relative to the amount of assets that are still left effectively in the policy, while the payouts are going out. And some, the biggest comment I'll make relative to SPIAs or other guaranteed income solutions, advisors often get a little hesitant about it. It's like, I'm not doing anything there. Well, actually you are. You're making some decisions on behalf of the client. But again, it's RIAs not understanding their value proposition because they've come from a heritage of managing assets. They think if I'm not managing something, I can't justify getting paid on it. And I would tell you, no, you're undermining your own value proposition. You're providing financial advice to deliver good outcomes for your clients, and you should be using the best products and the best resources to make that happen. You've seen the same evolution on index funds and ETFs. Originally, before deciding it was okay to bill on those kind of products within managed accounts and by RIAs, it used to be only I could select a good manager. If I wasn't selecting a good manager, then how can I bill on it? Well, it's because it's the best thing for your client in many instances, and you're seeing the same thing happening in insurance.
That's perfect. That's a great way to end today's session, and really good thoughts. And again, later, I think it's actually tomorrow, there's going to be an entire panel on fees, and I know they're going to talk about that exact topic. So that'd be a good one for you all to tune into. And so we're going to wrap this up here. Just as a reminder, if you want to reach out to any of us, myself, Mike, Matt, David, Andy, if you go to the speaker tab, it's on the top part of your screen. I think it's right in the middle. You click there, you click into one of our bios, and you can link up with us on LinkedIn, email, and get some additional information. If there were some questions that we didn't quite get to, it's just because we're a little short on time. This session could probably be a 2 or 3 hour session. But thank you all to the panelists, Matt, Mike, David, Andy. We appreciate your time today and your expertise. And it is 1:35, so that means it is now my pleasure to introduce Nicole Casperson, and she is the Investment News FinTech reporter. And she's going to moderate this next panel about RIA technology, which is another great topic. So, Nicole, over to you.